Okay, so we are going to re-caulk this tub. As you can see, somebody has tried this. It's really bad. I think the customer probably tried it themselves. So we're showing you this because we want to show you how clean it needs to be before you put the new caulk on. As you can see, we have it as close to brand new as possible. We pretty much had to use about half a dozen different tools, but you have to do whatever it takes to get it clean, because no matter how good the caulk is, the less chance that it's going to stick real well if it's not. This is like probably the most important thing. I just wanted to show you some of the tools we used. Most likely you don't have all these tools. We do this all the time. So these are some caulk removal, just cheap $1 or $2 tools we wanted to try. We used all this stuff here. This right here, you can get one for like 20 bucks. And you need to make sure it has a real skinny, thin blade that's real kind of flimsy. It'll say that it's made for caulk. And you have to be careful though, super careful. So if you're not handy, don't bother with it. Just take your time, use those hand tools. But if you're handy and you think you can be real careful, it is controllable. Get one of those, and it's worth the 20 bucks because you can use it for a lot of other things. We also use this. We have used that and these other items. This is good to spray on the area to make your tool slide on the surface that you're trying to clean the caulk off of so you don't damage it. The shampoo is very helpful. Also, you just do whatever you have to do. You just put enough on there, just you can feel it if it's grabbing because you don't want to scratch the surface. This is a fiberglass tub. Had to be real careful. So the green scrubby you can only use on ceramic tile or a cast iron tub. You cannot use that on a plastic or fiberglass tub. It'll scratch the surface and it's pretty much unrepairable. I mean, you can probably polish it a little bit, but so you don't need to do that. You just don't want to use that green scrubby on anything other than cast iron or ceramic tile. And the soft scrub works real well if you put some scuff marks on the tile or a cast iron tub. It's a porcelain finish. The green scrubby, the little water on it, and soft scrub is the best way to get those scuff marks off. Also, you want to dry out the area where you're going to be installing the new caulk. We have a compressor, so we just blew it out. But if you don't have this, just put a fan on it overnight and caulk it the next day. You don't want it to be wet inside of there, especially if you're not using a water cleanup caulk. So for the best job, you want that to be dry. So now we're going to use tape and we're going to leave a space. I'll show you in the next step, but I just want to show you. You want to figure out which side you want to start from. And you're going to install the tape in sections so that you can peel it off. You know what I'm talking about in a minute. Okay, so pick the most comfortable position for yourself. Decide which way you'd like to start. Do you want to caulk from left to right, or do you want to caulk from right to left? So we're going to install this tape. We're going to leave just an eyeball, 1/8 inch of the tub showing this way, and then 1/8 inch of the tile, because you want to have enough room when you smear the caulk so that the caulk, you get a nice bead and it has material to stick to. Personally, I want to smear my caulk from right to left, so I'm going to start on the other side so our overlaps will be proper for that method. Here's the overlap that we're talking about, because we don't want a long stretch with one piece of tape because it's too hard to handle the caulk. We're going to do the same thing on top. We're going to try to put the overlap close to the same location. You know, it could be anywhere. And then when we apply the caulk, we're going to apply it past the overlap. Then we're going to smear it off past. And then this, after we do that, we're going to carefully peel the tape off on the top and the bottom. So you'll see that when we get to it, but I just wanted to show, we want to show you that the installation process, just so you see the overlaps and so you understand why. Anybody can do a real great job if you do it this way. It's very hard to do a bad job this way. Okay, so we're lining it up. Okay, so we're going to put this piece on. We want to go and install it the same direction that you installed it on the bottom. Top and bottom, it's got to be the same. And you just want to press it down. Just take your time. Anybody can do this and get a great job. And it's the best way to do the job too. Best quality. Because when you're smoothing the caulk out, you're pressing it in there when you apply the caulk, then you're kind of coming back with a follow-up. When you smear the caulk, it's pressing it in there even farther. And that's what we want. We want that caulk in there also.
It's safe to say the people who did the last caulk job did not use any tape?
It's very safe to say. I don't even know if they tried to smooth it. I don't know. You saw it. Alright. It's just somebody doesn't know how to do it. Caulking, caulking's very hard, but not doing it this way.
So alright. We will zoom in on the corners to show you how to address those in a moment.
So as you can see, we got the overlaps real close to each other. See? That's super important. You'll see when we get to the actual caulking how important that is.
So again, he's going to smear from the right to the left because he's right-handed. And then he'll be able to peel up each section of tape 2 or 3 feet at a time. Here we'll zoom in on some of those corners.
Try to get it. Just kind of use multiple pieces of tape. You can shape the tape with your scissors if you want to, if you want to get real fancy.
So the way we go around corners is pretty easy. You just get a bunch of little straight pieces and overlap them. Something that's about 1/4 of a circle like this, you can do a great job on with just 3, 4, 5 small pieces of tape. And those tiny little corners that you see there will just get smoothed out when we go ahead and caulk and smear. You won't see those sharp edges there. And if you pile on too many pieces of tape, you stand a chance of having a ridge when you peel the tape up and away. So you don't want to go use too many small pieces.
Go in the same direction. Otherwise, you'll have trouble when you're peeling the tape off.
Right, so every piece he's laying down is going to overlap on the previous piece, so that as we go around the tub, that first piece is overlapped by the second, meaning the right side is overlapping the left, and there it is again, right side overlapping the left, and it all just goes back to when it's time to peel up the tape. It really makes it a lot neater and easier to work. And since caulk is so messy, or it can be, anything you can do to stay organized and have a nice clean system is really going to pay for itself. Saving time and money, frustration, and ultimately just have a cleaner looking job if you have less disorder that you're trying to deal with on the fly. You can see in the corner there, on the tub itself, we have a nice sharp corner where the two pieces of tape meet. And on the wall though, our pieces of tape are not meeting because we are going to tape up vertically just a few inches, it looks like. And it depends what you have at home. Some of our grout is cracked out down there. So we'll tape up and smear the caulk up just a little bit to keep the waterproof seal all the way up to where the grout is still intact. And we'll just end up blending that into the grout a little bit. You will end up seeing where the white, or actually we're caulking with almond, I believe, so the almond will just blend into the almond colored grout there. You can see he angled the tape towards the corner to get that blending effect, just to kind of smooth it out, have a natural transition. And we'll zoom in on this a little bit more when it comes time to caulk, and you'll see how that turns out.
So we're keeping these the same size, close as possible. Anybody can do it. And even if it's not a perfect job, it's still going to be better than almost any job you see out there if you look. Usually after somebody tries doing something themselves, they start looking at work that other people have done. You'll see that this tape method is the way to go. The quality will be there no matter what. It's just, can you get it to look good? And if you watch these videos over and over, we have other videos too, you'll get the hang of it. Just make sure you have everything you need. You almost can't mess up, especially this is important, the length that you caulk it, each section amount that how long of an area you caulk at one time, because you can fix it up real nice right then and there and then move instead of letting the thing get away from you.
So as far as how much you're going to overlap each piece, you can see the bottom piece ends here. He's got his top over to here, and that top piece will get overlapped, so they're about even. So it's a couple inches. You wouldn't want to go more than 4 or 5 inches, and even an inch overlap can be enough. There's not a hard and fast rule to it, but you don't want to be overlapping a foot. It's just a pain to line up your tape as you're laying it down flat.
Yeah, and then you got a bigger ridge. You're wasting the tape. This real thin tape is what you want, the thinnest tape you can buy. Because then you get less of a ridge when you pull your tape up. So on these grout lines, after you put the tape on, you can just kind of come back and push it a little in there. It's not going to do much, but it can be helpful a little bit. So when you pull the tape off, because if you pump it in there real good, you don't want it to go up there too much. So if you push this in, then you have less chance of that happening. But either way, it's not a disaster. It's a pretty small amount of area.
Yeah, these grout lines are not terribly big, and they're fairly close to flush with the tile, enough that we can go back and press them in. If you have real big grout lines, sometimes it's helpful to actually push it in the grout line as you're going along, like he is now. Push it in with your thumb as you go. Otherwise, if your tape is stretched taut the length of the wall and you go back and try to push it into a deep grout line, you'll just be pulling your tape off the wall. And of course, the bigger your grout lines are, the more likely it is that some of that caulk will sneak up and under your piece of tape if it's not pressed flush, which is not a disaster, but it's avoidable for aesthetics. So there you can see with just, I think that was 3 pieces that are all about 2 inches long, we're able to get a pretty good looking curve.
Yeah, and then when we smooth it out a little bit, all those points will be gone.
Yes, sir. All right. It's just a final look at the tub before we get to caulking. One thing to keep in mind is that no two tubs and bathrooms are going to be exactly alike, so you might end up going higher up in your corners, or you might not need to go up at all. You might not have something that looks quite exactly like that, or something that looks a little different. And using this taping technique, you should be able to work your way around most unconventional curves and corners. But as a rule of thumb, you're trying to waterproof this thing, so if you're dealing with an area where you think water is going to end up, you're better safe than sorry. Of course, you want it to look good when you're done. So there are just some judgment calls you'll have to make as far as what to caulk and how much exactly. So case in point, we have this lip along the whole front of the tub here. It's not something we see terribly often and have to caulk, but we are going to today. It's not taped just yet because we are going to caulk inside of the tub and then come and address this from the outside later, and we're just going to have to figure out on the fly kind of the best way to tape it. So at the moment, we just taped it off here, made a dead end. We'll finish that up, peel the tape away, then we'll step outside of the tub and just analyze what the best way to tape this is going to be to make it look good in the end. So you'll have your own quirks that you have to deal with, but you should be able to handle it. If not, you can shoot us a question, maybe with a picture in the comments section. Maybe we can try to give you some pointers.
Ready to get started. We have our caulk gun, caulk garbage can, rag, and our cleaning material. So the rag, in this case, this is paint thinner. We're using paint thinner for cleanup. This is an oil-based caulking material. So I have some paint thinner on here, just a small damp rag, and we pour a little in the cap. So if it's water cleanup, same thing, water, small rags. I'm gonna caulk it. We're gonna show you that in a second. I'm gonna smear it off. Put all my excess caulk right here in this caulk garbage can. That's what this is for. And when I peel the tape off, you have the garbage bucket right there to throw it in there. So I prefer, a lot of people do it like this. This is how I think it is the best. As long as whatever makes you comfortable. Everybody has different mechanical abilities. To me, what you do is, that's a little more than you need. You try to press it. I'm pumping it. I like to hold it straight. Pump it straight into that gap.
Yeah, meaning your gun is pretty much perpendicular to the wall.
Right. Straight, and a little tiny angle is okay. Going angled towards the direction you're installing the caulk, but you can't always do that, but this is ideal.
Do you want to angle your gun the incorrect way just to show them?
Yeah, to me this is incorrect because you can't force it in as well. You're laying it on more, but sometimes you have to. You don't have a choice. So then you're relying on just being real careful and using your eyeballs and watch how much you're pushing in there. Because the idea is to push it in the crack as well as, it's not just what's on top, it's in there. So to me, this is the best way to do it. Straight on, for the most part, angled towards the direction that you're going. And you try to put a little more than the best you can, to put a little bit more than what the finished product's going to be. And that just makes it easier for the cleanup, because the more, if you put way too much on, which a lot of people are going to do, because when you don't do this all the time, it's hard to control it. I mean, I have too much on here. This is fine, but it's easy to get more than that. I wish I had a little bit less, but well, actually that's not too bad. So then I'm going to go like this. So I'm going past.
Can you point out where that overlap is so they can see clearly when you're ready?
So I went, here's the overlap of the tape, top and bottom, okay? We want to go past both of them. Okay, so I went past a couple inches. And that's just ready to go. So now, I'm going to clean my tip off here. Put it right in here. That's what's so nice about this, the Caulk Garbage Can. Okay, then you want to put a little damp your finger a little with the product that you're using for the cleanup. for whatever type of caulk you're using. And you smear. See how my finger is? I'm actually pressing it in and smoothing it. So I'm gonna go ahead and leave this on this time. We're taking the bulk off. I'm leaving this on this time. A lot of times you'll take it off. But I just wanted to get a little bit of extra. I wanted to leave the material in there just to get the push in there. So now I can feel it's a little bit tacky. So I'm going to get rid of this. Put it right here in the Caulk garbage can. When you're using the Caulk garbage can, start at one side and keep going and fill the whole edge. You don't want to jump all over the place because then you're wiping it on there and you're like getting it on you again and wiping it off again. Okay, so I told you I felt it a little tacky when I got to here. So I want a little thinner on my finger to clean up, or water, whichever one kind of caulk you're using. In this case, thinner. I'm going to press harder so you can see the edge of the tape. We can start seeing it, but we want to do it again. Now I'm not going to leave this. This bulk right here, I'm not going to leave this anymore. Because the only reason why I left it on that first time is because it was wet and I just felt like I could use that to get it in there more. So now I'm going to damp my finger again with the cleaning solution. Press it.
Right, so when he says we can see the edge of the caulk, or the edge of the tape, I mean, which is the goal, what we're talking about is that internal edge underneath and inside the caulk. So meaning the caulk has gotten pressed down so well that at this, where am I? At that internal edge, you can start to see that blue.
I think I better hit it again, huh?
Shining through the caulk. Yeah, maybe we could do one more.
Now this time I put my finger in that little cup I have, the cap, because I needed more. Here's the overlap. I'm going to fill that gap past the overlap like I've been doing. In this case, I'm facing that way, so as I said before, I like to shoot it as straight in as possible, angled slightly towards the way I'm going. And if you put too much on it, it's not a big deal. It doesn't matter, because that's the beauty of it. That's another beauty of the tape thing. That's why it's very hard to screw this up. Okay, so as you can see, nice and clean. We're filling up that Caulk garbage can. All this caulk usually ends up on a rag. That would trash this. That mount right there would trash this rag already. Or we're putting it here and here and here, or all over our tools or on our clothes. It's a disaster. These things are great. Okay, here we go. And you just set this right here anywhere you want it. In a comfortable location. Doesn't get anything, it's adjustable. You know, everybody likes it. You can put it on this side. You just have to, whatever works for you. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just get a little thinner on my finger. I'm going to take the bulk off. I'm in a real comfortable position, so I just knocked that out twice. I'm even going to do it 3 times.
What can you say about how hard people should be pressing?
Well, you don't want to press too hard and dig all the caulk out. As you can see, that's not that much. That might, well, I think what we're going to do, I'll get rid of this. Just for safety. I'm not going to put as much thinner on there. I'm just going to damp it on my thinner rag. And I'm just going to glide a little more. Ooh, more is coming off than I thought, so I guess I should have did it. I didn't think that much was going to come off here. But you don't want to push too much, because otherwise you'll just be taking out what you put in. You're trying to shape it with your finger. Nothing beats using a finger. Some people like using a smoothing tool. And as you can see, look how clean my finger is. It's all in there. And that's due to also having a little cleaning solution on there, whether it's water or thinner. Okay, now we're gonna remove this. And when you take it off, try to, you know, pull it away. See, ooh, we got a little ledge there, but that's okay. We're going to fix that. That's what we were talking about, showing you what the deal is later. We didn't have to deal with that yet, but now we finally got it to...
We'll zoom in on that in a second so you can clearly see.
Yeah, let me get this off. That was a big one. I'm surprised. So I pulled a lot of caulk off. But doesn't matter. With this tape method, it's really hard. No matter what the quality will be there, and whether or not you make it look fabulous or just so-so, it's still going to look so-so. This is better than most, believe it or not, as you know. But I'm going to show you how to make this perfect.
Yeah, you can see that. You'll probably run into a few of those.
We're going to do this whole thing.
Sure.
So what we're going to do, have our cleaning solution here. Put your finger in there. Just barely touch it. You can't push. We're not trying to take any off. I got to fix that corner a little. Shoot. I don't know if I can get my finger in that little corner in there. Might have to come back. Sometimes it's easier to come back and do it. Ooh, I got it.
Yep.
When it's dry. Okay.
Right,
So
if you're doing your own tub at home, you obviously will be able to tend to it in the next day or two if you want to. Oftentimes, though, if we're on the job, it's necessary to finish.
We got it perfect.
Finish the same day.
So I'm just barely touching it. All I'm trying to do is clean it up because the tape ledges, the tape edge got me on that.
And important to say, you really can't do this without wetting your finger in either that paint thinner or water if you're using a latex-based caulk.
And you're just gliding. You can't feel any friction at all.
He's really letting the paint thinner do all the work here. Just smoothing out that tiny little lip.
See, there's nothing on my finger. It might look hard, but I'm telling you, it's not hard. And it's not bad idea to build up some confidence just to do this on something that you're really not caulking, just to try it. And you'll see, and you'll be like, oh shoot, I could do that. That's beautiful, right?
Looks good.
Okay. Let's see, that's 1, 2, 3. We're on our 4th section now. So, I'm going to apply the caulk. Just like I said, straight as possible, angling in the direction that we're going. You're trying to put it in a little bit more than you need, not too much. You're trying to keep the cleanup to a minimum.
You can imagine if he had his gun angled off to the right instead of pumping the product into the crack, he would be laying it down on the tub, almost like you're unspooling a coil of yarn and just laying it on gently. That is not what you want to do. And if you go back and look at the beginning of this video, it's apparent that that is what they did in the previous time around in some sections.
So I'm going to go fairly fast. Sorry. 1. You have to use your own judgment. But I'm going to go, I'm kept that caulk on there, so I'm really going to, I'm being careful not to push in too far because I don't want to dig it out. I'm leaning it up with that. Okay. Put it there. You get a lot of waste. This is the best way to caulk, and there's no way to get rid of that waste. You have to have a lot of waste to do this really, really good. This will never have to be done again. If you use the best material you can find, real good material. See, I feel some tackiness now. I got a phone call in the middle of this video that we had to take, and I continued smoothing this while I was talking, but being that this is the original overlap from that section, I'm gonna get a little more cleaning solution on there so that when I pull this up, we have a safe release. So if that happens to you, you get an important phone call or your kid calls you or something, make sure you work that. So that one's going to end up working great, as you can see, because there's the other tape was on top of there. It's going to be no ledge. So I just wanted to tell you that, so you remember that in case that happens to you. So here we go. And peel this off. Voila. And you gotta get this tape off while it's wet. You never want to wait overnight, because you don't know for sure unless you can for surely see the edge of that tape. Well, no matter what, you don't want to wait. Okay, so this ledge is a little bigger than we want. We're just gonna, for looks, the quality's there. So if you're happy and you just had a real hard time or whatever, which I doubt you will, I like the idea of the practice run on something that doesn't matter. You know, you have time, so you just gently, real quick, good quality caulk will start setting up, but it's not going to set up real hard. It'll be workable for a while. So you use your cleaning solution, just barely touch it, and this is actually the best way to get it. You can't get it to look better than this. This is the absolute best way.
And so again, you're just barely dipping your finger in that paint thinner.
Right.
Because you don't want to soak that caulk to the point where the paint thinner starts to degrade the material, since that is what it's made to do.
Exactly.
Just the lightest little skim coat.
Yep. You just get it on there. Once it's setting up like that, if it's laying on top, it's not going to really like soak in. You don't want to soak it. You don't want to be too shy. You know, you're only going to reapply onto your finger when you feel like you can start feeling the caulk again, then you reapply some. But if you keep going like this, you're spreading it out pretty far. It's never had a problem. You know, with this good stuff, you don't have to worry so much about that stuff. Okay, I need a knee pad. So now, I'm going that way. I'm going to go straight as possible with a slight angle in that direction. Doesn't matter which direction you go in. Just make sure you're pumping it in there. And each run of overlap, you know, you try to stay under 2 feet. We do this all the time. We still stay under 2 feet. If we're in a real hurry and both of us are on it, you know, we can handle doing this whole tub, but we do it all the time. But either way, this is the easiest way. I'm going to take this off. Okay. Put it right in there. Okay. That's fine. All right. So I got to reposition myself a little bit. Okay. Get my cleaning material over here. Have everything. Get yourself comfortable. Okay, here we go.
What you might find, and we mentioned it when we did the last corner of the tub, it's very hard to lay your tape out in such a way that you can avoid having to do that vertical corner at the same time that you're also doing another section. You can lay it out so that you're only doing a 6-inch horizontal section and your vertical corner, but you're almost definitely going to have to do, you know, to go all the way around that corner in each direction when you get to one. And it is a trickier area of the tub, but if you just stick to the same general techniques, it should go pretty well for you.
And if you have trouble and you're working it, and you feel like you're running out of time, just let it dry and come and fix the spots that you're not happy with the next day. That's the easiest way to do it, but like Jeff said earlier, we need to finish the job. We can't get paid without finishing the job, plus we're not going to be here. You know, we have to do something else tomorrow. I'm pressing real hard by making sure that I'm trying to press on the edges. I'm making sure that I'm not using my finger. Oh, see, that's a lot. I'm making sure that I'm not using a part of my finger with all that pressure that's going to smash in there and take out too much. Okay, so here we go.
So one of the trickier parts of the corner sometimes is peeling the tape away. When you get to the actual corner, you've got to, right there, what he just did is peel it away at a right angle. You just have to go slow.
Okay.
And make sure you're pulling it away from the caulk. If you do get a little ledge or a little fiber of caulk that droops over, you should be able to finish it, fix it a moment later with some of the cleaning material on your finger. There's a little bumpiness in that corner you can see, but we should be able to smooth that out once the tape is gone.
And then you have to watch your elbow and stuff. Make sure you don't make sure you don't bump into what you just did.
Yeah,
That could be pretty aggravating. See, we're messed up a little there. It's not a big deal. Oh, let me take this off before it sets up too much. Getting the tape off is more important than getting to the smoothing part of it, because you can work the caulk better, but if the tape's on there, it will could possibly pull it off. So it's best to get that tape off before running to fix this. So what we're gonna do, watch this, and put my finger in here, just barely touch it. Done.
Yeah, it looks great.
Now,
Go ahead.
well, I just figure I should, since we did it the whole way here, that now we got a little red here, even though it looks good, I think we better
Sure.
just to look consistent.
So what you might notice when you try this is that you lose that perfectly laser straight line that you got when you laid the tape down, but you don't lose it by much. And what you gain though is that that ledge just absolutely disappears into the wall, and you would need to put a magnifying glass on it to even notice that that line is not 100% straight anymore, and it is very close still. It's 99.9% straight.
And that's why you don't push.
Yeah, if you do push too hard, you will distort that straight tape edge that you had going for you. So
You'll smash it and make the caulk, the bead way wide, wider.
you can see he's redipping his finger, very frequently, every 3 to 4 inches. As soon as he starts to feel the friction of the caulk on his finger, he knows that that paint thinner has evaporated or been used up, and so he needs to get a little more. That looks great.
Okay.
Lightest touch. When you're doing that, start out with a touch that's even lighter than you think it's going to need, and make your touch heavier as you go along. Don't start out pressing too hard or you'll ruin it. Press light and adjust if need be. So something to keep in mind. You can't see every imperfection on this video, but you'll notice them when you're doing this on your own. And if you have your nose 2 inches away from a spot and you see a minor imperfection, keep in mind that you may be the only one who ever sees it, and if you back up a foot, you're not going to see it anymore. So you just have to gauge for yourself what level of perfectionism you're going for. If you're not terribly comfortable and the caulk is just aggravating for you to work with, you might let a few extra things slide. We are on a job right now, so we are trying to make this as perfect as we possibly can. So we are addressing every ledge that we see and every imperfection. If you're working at home, of course, you're the boss, and you can do as you see fit. But we would encourage you to do as good of a job as you can, because it really is doable for anybody if you just take your time and follow this technique.
Yeah, no rushing. You have to have the time. No time limit. See, I'm pressing real hard, but I'm not digging my finger in there. I can feel like different positions, however your finger is shaped, you'll feel it. If you're smashing your skin in there, you're gonna hog it out. You're gonna take out more than you wish you did. And the idea of doing this is to get it, you want to smash it because you don't want to get that tape edge. But
it's hard not to get the tape edge no matter how thin the caulk is. You know, the tape has a thickness to it. We have other videos too that we might say something better. They're all pretty short. So we might say something that makes sense better to you or looks clearer to you. We just want to make sure that you know that you can do it. Anybody can do this. It's kind of like, see, so we have a ridge here. So we're just gonna, it's a small ridge, it's acceptable, but we did this whole side right here, so we're just gonna go ahead and do that.
Again, important to know that you've got the right product for this. We're calling it a cleaning solution at times. That doesn't mean you just grab a bottle of 409 or Windex. This is the cleaning solution that is intended for this caulk. So for us, it's an oil-based heavy-duty caulk. It means it's either a paint thinner cleanup or mineral spirits. So that's what we've got. You'll have to check your caulk tube and label, but it should be clearly indicated what solution is necessary for cleanup, and that's what you use. Okay, we're on our final section here.
Okay, so like a monkey with that little corner when we're done. This is most comfortable for me right now. You want to pick the most comfortable way to move on it.
Yeah, in this case we started off right to left, but if I back up here you can see we've got a counter in the way, so it's just more comfortable for him to sit in the tub and go left to right on this last section.
Oh, I almost wiped the caulk in the cap.
That would be incorrect.
Do not do this at home. Okay, so here, shoot, I think I'm ready to peel that tape off. Alright, I'll give it one more wipe. Okay, so not that much is coming off now. It's hard to judge, but that's just, it's all fixable, especially with this tape. You know, without the tape, you can't smear it like this. Okay, so that's not working out, so we're gonna come this way. Without the tape, you can't smear the caulk like we're trying to show you, because it would just be a huge mess. The line, the caulk line would be terrible. It'd be all over the place. It would look like it looked when we started this. All right. So again, if you're afraid to do this, which you shouldn't be, but if you are, for whatever the reason, the quality is here. What we're doing now is for looks. A little bit more than looks, because there's stuff can't sit on there now. You know, with that little ledge, junk can sit on there and take a little more cleaning. But for the most part, it's just looks. The quality is there. That is not going to leak. We already smashed it in. But just so you know, just be super careful. But everybody's different. Someone might try this and just can't help from pushing too hard or something. But if you just do a practice run, like I keep saying that a lot just because I want you to do that, so that when you get to it, and then, so I'm getting a little heavy on the thinner, so I'm just going to pick some up. Instead of dipping it and getting more, I'm just going to pick some up that I got put too much on a little bit. It's not going to ruin anything. It's real hard to ruin it. And you'd have to put a real lot on there to ruin it. and you'd have to be pressing it out. Now see how that looks real? We were talking about this at the beginning. Your finger
Oh, very nice.
make it perfect. Voila. No ledge. Nothing's on my finger. And the little bit that's on there, put it in the caulk garbage can. As you can see, you can't even see any caulk on the rag. All that caulk would be, that would be at least a couple of these rags. You know, you're in a tight spot here. Some people wipe it on their pants and on their tools, and then you stick your hand back in. It's just a disaster. This is a great idea.
So this is our first side again, which we did not smooth out as we went along. We thought it was good enough. The ledge was very small, but we ended up smoothing out the entire rest of the tub for one reason or another, and so we decided to come back to make this match. And so just to show you, that was about maybe 20-30 minutes that it took to do the rest of the tub, and we were still able to come back, just very lightly dip our finger in the paint thinner and just smooth out those edges just very lightly to make everything match, and it still looks fantastic. So that just gives you some idea of, even after the caulk starts to set up and stiffen, you still do have a window where you can make these minor adjustments to it if you are careful and use that proper cleaning solution.
Okay. And one more thing we should add is, you might, it's set up a lot more, so you might have to use a little more. But at that point, don't worry, you're not going to ruin it. Just don't push. But putting too much of that on there is not going to ruin it. So,
right.
If you just do it real lightly, you'll be pulling it, you may pull it off and have trouble. So you just want to have a good layer of that on your finger. Have it real close to it. Real close, so you're not losing much.
And if you come back to something later on and it's not working, you'll know immediately, and maybe just back off and don't force it. If it feels way too sticky or way too stiff, you're having to press real hard to make any adjustments, that might be a clue that you waited a little bit too long. So this whole tub here then took us, it was about an hour and a half to clean, 15 to 20 minutes to tape.
But that's two of us cleaning.
That was two of us cleaning, so that's between 2 and 3 man hours there. That was the biggest part of the job. And what was that, just about 30 minutes to caulk? We're not quite done yet, but that should give you some idea of the overall length of time a project like this will take.
Also, we do it all the time, so if you're on a time crunch, that cleanup I could see that taking much longer for someone that doesn't do this all the time. So just make sure you allow yourself some time. Just wanted to let you know. Being that this is such an unusual situation, we decided to fast forward this section. We hope you liked the video. Hope you learned enough to feel confident to go ahead and give this a try for yourself and see the importance of having a clean, organized job site. Thank you. Okay, so here's the final finished product. Looks real good. In this particular case, this was loose, so I tightened that. It's always good. I put a clear bead of silicone around the whole thing. All the way around, at least to here, you want to put it. And then this was loose, it still is. I was able to pull it back far enough and fill caulk in around the plumbing pipe where it's going through the wall. Because we don't want water. This is the worst place because of the splash in showers, so that'll keep any water from getting inside the wall. Push this back.